really getting into this stupid biking thing, right? I'm like, man, this is some like jockey work weird. I don't know what this is, right? It's different. It's uncomfortable. Interesting. I like it. Let's do it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Film the World podcast. I am happy to be here with you, where we go on a voyage to solve the human condition. And dude, I started this day out early. I'm not even sure if I slept. I'm not even sure if that matters. But anyway, we got a 14-mile bike ride in. And okay, I gotta start talking about this because this is interesting, right? So Qualia are the subjective experiences that arise from the interaction between the material universe and the conscious observer. They represent the direct internal communication or connection between the external physical world, the material, and the individual experiencing a particular sensation or perception. In other words, qualia are the personal first-hand sensations like color, taste, or feelings that emerge as the universe's material signals are interpreted within the mind of the experiencer, right? This is an interesting concept, okay? And I've known about this ever since, specifically, my grandmother, okay, had passed away. And she passed away when I was in college, okay? She purchased a driver for me, this red driver. I will never forget this, okay? This is ridiculous, okay? So I was at the tee box, right? Warming up. Hit it. Literally, the head goes flying. Lands down, the range. And, man, a cardinal literally sat on that thing. I swear. Then, my PE teacher, because we were in PE class in college, University of Wisconsin-Platteville, right? The boonies. And, I was, whatever. And then she told me I locked in on that cardinal on that moment, in that instance. It imprinted on me. Like a baby bird, I will never forget, ever, what qualia is to me. Okay? And I want to know, maybe you have something similar to that. And if you do, let me know. Cool. But just know that's specific to you. Okay? And everybody's on their own path, right? I'm here to identify these things in my life, find them as examples, and then share them back to you, because nobody did this for me, man. And I want to do it for you. And if you have time for it and you're here for it, yeah, check it out. If not, cool. But not everybody wants to be plugged in. You know what I mean? We kind of want to know a little bit more. It's kind of a little bit interesting. Human nature and whatnot, which we're not going to touch on today. Because for, sheer responsibility, we need to follow our definitions. But before getting off qualia, Okay, so the original bird landed on the head of my driver downrange. Okay, that's qualia to me. Okay, so that was my first instance with qualia, or to what I knew it to be. Okay, and that was for me in college, right? And since then, I've had 3 other animals join the party. And for some random reason, it's only while I'm riding a bicycle. I don't know why. It's like where I collect the new animals. It's ridiculous. So somebody, when I purchased my Kawasaki H2 Ninja, back 2016, it was beautiful. And I saw that thing. I had the money in hand to go and buy a Ducati. Saw it then and there. Boom. I knew that was the one. When you see her, you know it, right? At least I thought so. So I got that bad boy. But then right when I'm like signing off on the paperwork and stuff, he was like, yo, I think only 3 of the people in town have purchased this bike because it's so rare, right? And they just only been allocated 3. Anyway, he's like, dude, 2 of those people are dead. I'm like, are you kidding me? So then he proceeds to tell me this crazy story about this buzzard. So I'm thinking about this buzzard, but then I'm just like, whatever, dude. He's talking about buzzards or whatever. I guess I saw these things, like they're like with the Grim Reaper and like cartoons or whatever. And people say they're down here. And I'm coming from a 28 sales territory, right? 28 state sales territory, right? So and I've been to every single state, okay? Legit. Lived out of the country, been everywhere. Literally. Okay? I've not seen a buzzard. Are you kidding me? A buzzard? What the heck is this mystical creature? Buzzard. So I'm like, keep my eyes peeled. I'm like down here or whatever. And in my experience, being here in Tennessee and being on my motorcycle, I haven't seen a bird. Because you know what? I don't want to see a bird. So when we get into the mechanics of this thing, okay, maybe some of that will make sense to you, okay? But anyway, randomly, I'm on my regular bicycle going for an exercise, right? We're just getting it hard, going up this hill, chumming away, And then the craziest thing was I'm thinking to myself, after being on this stupid bike, definitely blocking, I put white noise out there into the ether. Literally. Just blast it. Absolutely blast it out there. Just to not see this buzzard while I'm on my motorcycle, right? Because I don't want to see that thing, right? That can't happen because I won't let it happen, right? Okay. So anyway, we're proceeding down this thing, and I'm like, man, I really would like to see one of those buzzards right about now. I've been here in Tennessee. They've been hiding out. Dude, I've literally been waiting 7 years, chomping at the bit, waiting to see this stupid thing, and it's just straight, steady chilling in the bushes. I don't know where he's at, right? Anyway, boom, right then and there. There he is. Whoop. There it is. I was like, okay. Okay. And that was about 3 years ago, right? And since then, I was just doing some adventuring, and I'm really getting into this stupid biking thing, right? I'm like, man, this is some jockey work weird. I don't know what this is, right? It's different. It's uncomfortable. Interesting. I like it. Let's do it. That's me, right? If I'm like, ooh, I like that too much. Peace. Dude, that is me 100% of the time. You can guarantee if I'm liking something, I'm not coming back. It's done. Hey, So on the next story here, I'm like out at night, right? 3 a.m, right? And I'm not expecting to see a stinking thing. Not one, right? Dude, I'm on the outside of like Franklin. There's nothing out here, right? Franklin, Tennessee, right? I guess we got a couple, farms left to be converted, right? To public housing or whatever they have to do. And I'm all for it, right? It's interesting. Anyway, so we're down here. I'm on the outskirts of town. I'm pedaling away. I'm like, man, I wonder if there's like any wildlife out here. Like, wouldn't that be interesting? It is literally like 2 a.m. I swear I see this red flash kind of thing, right? I'm like, what is that, right? I'm like, sketch. I'm interested, And then like, dude, okay, so ended up being a freaking red-tailed fox. And I was like, I'm intrigued by this thing, right? I'm like, how are we supposed to be seeing a fox? They're supposed to be so sneaky, right? But there he is, he's walking on the fence post, one foot after another. He's chilling, looked me dead in the eyes, flicked his tail, pranced. Dude, I won't forget it. After I saw that prance, I'm not saying I'm judging, but just saying, buddy. Okay, anyway, next Qualia. 3 days ago, okay? Shouldn't be having any issues, right? This is just the regular afternoon time, maybe 6 p.m. No issues, right? No traffic. I mean, the road shut down still, right? It was only a couple days ago I said that. But I saw this raven. Interesting. I thought it was a crow, but it looked like Big Daddy Crow on his crow. You know what I mean? And like, I didn't know, I guess, what the heck a raven even looked like. But I mean, that thing was huge. Literally. He looked me in the eye too. Okay? If that wasn't strange enough, I guess I've seen crows, maybe? I don't know. Do you see crows? Crows? Yeah. I mean, they're everywhere, right? Right? I mean, I see them time to time. But ravens? I mean, I never really see ravens. Like, when I used to travel down to, like, I don't know, where'd we go? I guess when I went down to, like, Memphis a lot, I'd kind of see, some weird stuff like that. But, like, I mean, not here in Nashville, right? Anyway, I'm just super pumped because I'm just getting back from my bike riding, closing up shop, walking to get my mail. Look up. It's that raven. He is across the road looking me dead in the eyes again. Okay? Yeah, across the street. So, I'm not sure what that means exactly, but I do know that I need to bring up Qualia again. because I haven't defined it, okay? And you deserve a definition from me. If I'm going to bring it up, if I'm going to throw it out into public ether, you know what? I'm going to define it too. Okay? Because I'm going to be that reflection in the change in the world that I need to see. Okay? So, that's interesting, right? You just keep seeing these different aspects of life, right? Or little reminders, little tidbits. You keep taking them on with you. Okay? And these end up being known bias attributes. Known bias refers to the influence that an individual or group habits, cultural norms, expectation, and experiences have on their interpretation and use of language or information. This bias shapes how meaning is constructed and understood, often without conscious awareness. It can exist within a single person or within a community sharing ideas, the same environment, or material, affecting communication and perception. Okay? And it's important you understand this. And it was important that I gave you backstory on what qualia was and examples in my life of what they are. Because I want you to know what they are, okay? I'm not like hiding. There's no gatekeeping. We don't do that. We don't play games, okay? So, if that's a known bias attribute, that is something we genuinely know of. We're told it's in the available public for your public consumption, whether that's your known or unknown to you, but it's still in the marketplace. That is a known bias attribute, okay? But it's important to understand where this framing came from, okay? It comes from this thing called rest of market, or ROM, okay? So normally, you have all this different syndicated data, and you have like a net total of everything in the available marketplace within that locality. They'll go and put different filters on these metrics to define your geographical setting. And then you can remove stores or add stores accordingly. This is interesting because it tells you within a proximity of how you want to focus in on a target or focus out of a target. This concept is interesting because it gives us understanding for what known bias attributes are. So just because we don't know about them does not mean that it's not a known bias attribute. Also, it's also party-based within the materium. Okay? Which we're not even going to really touch on too much here because it doesn't matter as much now. We're talking about perspective of a geographical landscape, okay? And what is available in a landscape. Because if we have traditional norms, we may live in the same town, but may have only driven down the same road to casually go on our merry way to the same point of origin, okay? Or destination, or vice versa. I don't know if you're a time traveler, if you go back in time. I don't know these things. You know, that's for you to decide. And they tell me. I'm curious, you know? But if we're going and traversing this locality, we need to define these things. Okay? Because just because we don't know about them doesn't mean that Waze is going to be able to optimize our route a little bit better, to get places a little bit faster, a little bit more refined, you know? And like, I think it's really important for people to just take a second, stay in the presence, and listen to these things. Because if you traditionally do things, these are also programs, okay? They're not bad, okay? They're what you give them meaning, okay? That's all anything is. What you give it meaning, okay? Things have infinite meaning. Things are here because they have infinite meaning for you. You know? It's because kind of like how things kind of tend to happen for you. I guess that's like one of the things, as I hear these birds just chirping away outside, that's just the thing, okay? And it's okay to be uncomfortable with the uncomfortable. Because all these ideas are in motion. We don't know which one to go to. We don't know who's authentic, who has the right credentials, right? You know? And we're gonna go down that road, okay? But that's just, you know, we need to be comfortable with these things. Because the one thing that we can guarantee, and I can promise you, is things will not remain the same. That is the one thing that happens. We change, we evolve, we grow consciousness together. Whether you choose to see that or not is on you. But you got a friend in me, partner. Dude, we're here to solve the human condition. And again, I'm not going to get too mind-melting on these things. I want to give you perspective on other people's narratives of, program. If we're targeting identities, it just gets weird. We can, if we really had to. If you need to do that to serve an experience, do it. But love is the only thing that's gonna grow this thing. I'm just telling you, bro. And from looking at the marketing metrics, from looking at everything, just in knowing and growing. Dude, the last 3 years, I've had the privilege of, working and teaching, behavioral struggling kids in elementary school and also autistic kids. And, I try to play my role, in the community and give back. And, there was a lot of discussion about a lot of these things that were taking place, and I just needed to know about it. I needed to know what was happening in my community. So I did it. And it was amazing. It was beautiful. I learned so much stuff. But I'm like that with everything. I'm like that with research, food, nutrition. And these aren't things you stick to. They're very fluid in motion, right? Because we adapt, we evolve. Things don't stay stagnant. They grow. We have to continue to grow, you know? And I'm here to give you the encouragement to continue to grow and get off some of these stories, maybe. You know? If you need help with your brand, if you need help with vision, if you just need to talk, you know, reach out. Reach out. You know? Leave me a voicemail on my website. You know, on almightyportal.com. I'm leaving a voicemail box where you can go and literally, you know, drop me a voicemail and I will respond to it. Okay? But like, I just want you to know that like, I'm not like pushing an agenda here. I want to offer a new perspective on things. Because I think a lot of these things just kind of get lost in discourse, you know? It's crazy. Because like, it was really eye-opening because like, you know, when I went, you know, taught at, you know, the elementary school, it's like my first experience with like elementary school in the United States. No idea about this stuff. This is foreign territory to me, right? I'm used to like, I went to school in Hong Kong for elementary school, you know? It was different. It's a lot different. That's all I remember, you know? And like, it was so organized. It was wild. It was a great time. I learned so much, but like, it was just different. And it's all the same, which is so interesting, you know? Like, you know, people always wonder like where home is. Dude, I've never felt like I've left home. I've moved so many times, I can't even tell you. I've lived out of a backpack since I was like 16, I think. Dude, I'm 38 right now. I lived overseas in the Netherlands. I lived in, you know, Hong Kong. I went to 19 different schools growing up. And the one thing I can tell, dude, I've been everywhere. One thing I can tell you is, dude, home never goes anywhere. You know? So, if your perspective is ever off, or you need perspective, dude, reach out. We're here to traverse this thing, dude. Hey, man, you got to get excited. There's so much going on here. Like, we have a lot to roll out, okay? I mean, I see the different distractions right now, and I see the keywords that they're tugging for, but, you know, especially now, when our shirts are disappearing, when we're getting Qualia, you know, popping out left and right, you know, these birds and all these crazy things flying at you, it's like, yo, just take a deep breath, chill. It's gonna be fine, man. There is nothing to worry about. And fear does not exist. I mean, we're not doing fear today. I'm not gonna give you my breakdown because that's gonna require a full episode, but just know you can trust me. If you can trust me. You think you trust me? Okay. There's no such thing as fear. Okay? Okay. Cool. Alright. Well, now since we've addressed Qualia, now since I feel redeemed for at least getting this off my shoulders, that Raven, man! Dude, I'm so excited. Maybe, dude, I see him later today. And that's the last takeaway I will leave you with. Do not wait for tomorrow. There's no such thing as tomorrow. There's no such thing as yesterday. There's only right now. So even if you could time travel and you could go back to a previous moment, that would only be from your perspective of a lost moment. So just know that the only thing that exists is right now. And when you're waiting for some rando paycheck to go do whatever, or buy a beer to your buddies or whatever, just know that everything is happening right now. And that while you've put faith in a future moment, you're missing everything, bro. Dude, it's 2025, folks. Fill the World Podcast. Almighty Portal LLC. AlmightyPortal.com. Catch you tomorrow. Peace.